Welcome to this IDDBA cast, What is Listeria? Part of the International Dairy-Deli-Bakery Association's initiative, Safe Food Matters, focus on Listeria. Bacteria are incredibly small and found everywhere on Earth, including on people and in food environments. Many bacteria are helpful. They help us digest foods, turn milk into cheese and yogurt, and can increase the effectiveness of certain vaccines. But some bacteria are harmful. Listeria monocytogenes is one of the harmful bacteria. It is a foodborne organism that can affect ready-to-eat perishable foods in service delis. To find out more about this problem, we spoke with Dr. Kathleen Glass, senior scientist at the Food Research Institute at the University of Wisconsin. We started out by asking her, what is Listeria?
Well, it's a bacterium that is very common in the environment. It has been around for a long time, probably has been most noted more since like the 1980s because it's a bacteria that likes to find its way into a food processing environment and into delis, and likes cold, moist environments and can grow in refrigeration temperatures. It is a problem because if you are a susceptible individual, saying that you have you're immunocompromised, you have some kind of underlying illness, you have cancer, HIV/AIDS, even diabetes. People that are women who are pregnant and the very old are all very susceptible to it. And if they end up ingesting a high enough number of cells, it basically invades their body. It takes a couple of weeks, but then it can cause very, very severe illness. It can cause septicemia, meningitis. In the women that are pregnant, it might cause a flu-like symptoms in them. But what's more devastating is that it basically attacks the infant and then the fetus, either at the beginning of the pregnancy or middle or at the end, and can cause spontaneous abortion, or if it's later on, can cause very severe illness in the infant or stillbirth. So even though it's relatively rare in the United States, there's probably about 2,500 cases in the United States every year that are identified. It's about 20 to 25% of the people who contract it die.
Oh, wow.
So that's one of the reasons why it has become such a critical microbe for the food industry to pay attention to, not because people are falling over all over the place, but because the people who do become ill become very severely ill and die.
Dr. Glass explained that there are also many types of Listeria that don't cause harm to humans. The specific Listeria bacterium that causes foodborne illness is called Listeria monocytogenes.
It's Listeria monocytogenes. That's the one that causes illness. There are a variety of other Listeria within the genus. Some of them might cause illness in animals, but not necessarily in humans. But it's the monocytogenes specifically. That's the one that's been associated with foodborne illness. And there certainly are a lot of Listeria that are found in the environment. So what they do in, for instance, the meat processing environment is they look for niches within the food processing environment that would be able to support any Listeria, regardless of if it's disease-causing bacteria or not. So what they'll do is they'll do swabs and identification up to the Listeria species level, and if they can find Listeria species, then they just break everything down and clean it all up, and they start all over from the beginning. They don't want to find monocytogenes. And finding it is probably the monocytogenes is probably going to be more difficult than finding the general Listeria. So that way they have a broader brush and they clean up if they find any Listeria versus just the monocytogenes.
Because if it could support another kind, it could support.
Right, exactly, yes.
Okay. Well, and my understanding is that Listeria itself doesn't cause food to appear spoiled, so something might have a lot of Listeria without.
Correct.
Okay.
Absolutely correct. Yeah.
Manufacturers use several methods to reduce the risk of Listeria.
And it is something that can be prevented, or at least the risk being reduced, through a couple of different main things, which is good cleaning and sanitation. But even so, it's very, very difficult to keep it out because it keeps reseeding itself. As people come into the plants, you bring in new types of raw food ingredients. It comes in on produce, it comes in on raw food products, so it just keeps coming back in all the time, and so it's always a constant battle to keep it out of the plant itself. So the other thing that they do besides cleaning and sanitation is a lot of the food companies, especially the meat companies, that are looking to at least prevent the growth, because they figured, okay, fine, we might have a couple of cells here or there, but as long as it doesn't grow to a level that can cause illness, we'll be okay. We can still keep the public safe. So what they end up doing is they add a variety of ingredients that have antimicrobial activity. And the meat industry, because they've had some very large outbreaks, and such as what you mentioned with the Canadian outbreak, they have overwhelmingly added ingredients so that it prevents the Listeria from growing. But not all food products that are capable of supporting growth have had antimicrobials added to it, and so there's still risky products that are out there.
And so what are these antimicrobials? Are they salts?
They're going to be a salt version of organic acids. So sodium lactate and sodium diacetate are probably the two primary antimicrobials that are used in meat products. Certainly vinegar, the acid that comes in during the fermentation to make a salami is lactic acid. That's antimicrobial. That same lactic acid is also when they make cheese or yogurt. Those are antimicrobials. Sometimes people refer to them as preservatives, but many times preservatives have a negative connotation because people assume that they're chemicals and all chemicals are bad, and that's not true. There are many things. Salt is a preservative. Salt is an antimicrobial. Acid is a preservative and an antimicrobial. And then, of course, there are certainly other kinds of chemical antimicrobials or chemical preservatives. Sodium nitrite is very good against Listeria, but it works best when in combination with other types of antimicrobials. As people are trying to get rid of antimicrobials or preservatives and going to more natural types of things, there are other ingredients that have antimicrobial activity, such as any kind of organic acids can have antimicrobial activity. And then also we're exploring certain types of plant extracts that might have some antimicrobial activity, although they provide some flavoring to it, and sometimes that flavor isn't compatible with that food product. And all of these things are not going to be foolproof. They will need, of course, other things such as making sure you get good cleaning, sanitation, good manufacturing practices, people washing their hands, but also temperature control.
We talk more about cleaning, sanitation, and temperature control in the IDDBA cast, Preventing the Growth of Listeria Monocytogenes in the Deli. We hope you'll have a listen. For more resources on IDDBA's Safe Food Matters Food Safety Initiative, please visit iddba.org/Safe Food Matters.